Hey guys, okay, so I'm back with another DIY project. Today we're going to be learning how to make one of these guys. It's a cassette tape, but it's a coin purse and a wallet too. So you can put stuff in there actually. So to make this project, you're going to need a few things. Obviously, the first thing is the cassette. If you don't have any of these old guys laying around in your musical collection, you can go to the Goodwill or Salvation Army, or even yard sales are a good spot to look for them. Generally, they're pretty darn cheap, and let's face it, you're not buying it to actually listen to it. You're buying it to make a project, so don't worry about that. Friends and family might have some old ones laying around too. All you gotta do is ask. And a couple of tips about this actual cassette. Ideally, go for the ones that have the screws holding them together. It'll have screws in the four corners and then like one right in the middle. They're so easy to take apart. It's unbelievable. I mean, all you need is just a little tiny screwdriver and they just fall apart after you take the screws out. If you get one of the old school tapes that have like no screws in it, you have to deal with these little openings and you have to kind of like pry it apart very carefully. I don't advise these ones because they're just too easy to break. You know, you just got to be really careful when you take them apart. The other thing about the cassette is in the beginning you will see my cassette is actually clear. It's a see-through cassette tape. So I opted to paint it. I used just some regular paint that you can find at like the craft store, and I put like a good 2 or 3 coats on it to make a good solid black because I wanted the writing of the cassette tape to actually show. I figured that was part of the fun of this project. So you can get any color of the rainbow that you want. Local fabric store, these are only about like $1 or $2. And also you're going to need a piece of scrap fabric. Any old piece will do. Keep in mind that this is actually going to be the lining of the coin purse or wallet. And you probably only need about 10 inches or less. You'll see in the actual video when I start doing the project how much you need. Fabric chalk, definitely. If you don't have fabric chalk, use a colored pencil. It's not a big deal. You will need one zipper. These ones are a little bit too small. I think these are about like 5 inches. So I think you should go for a good 10-inch zipper probably. That will be long enough for this project. Better to go longer because you can just cut it and then sew a little blocker on it and it'll be okay. So don't go too short on these. Find them at the fabric store, a couple of bucks. You will also need needle and thread and a pair of scissors. Okay, so you're gonna need some type of glue to hold this baby together. There's 2 different ways you could do this. You could do this with the hot glue gun, which is the route that I chose. And, you know, these guys are messy. They get hot, and I definitely recommend parental supervision because they are just, you know, they can be a little difficult to handle. You need to be extremely careful with them. So yeah, if you don't have one, fabric store, $10, or ask somebody, hey, do you got a hot glue gun I can borrow? So you will need that. You will need glue sticks for it. I think I used maybe 4 or 5 glue sticks for this project. So yeah, you need those. If you don't want to do the hot glue gun route, you can go to like Lowe's or Home Depot and find some of that like goo glue, or I think it's like E6000. It's like really strong glue that will glue any surface to any surface. So you can get that. Lastly, a Sharpie. There was a couple of spots where my glue kind of oozed onto the zipper and I flicked most of it off, but it kind of had like a little white residue or whatever, so I just kind of went over it with the Sharpie. Match the color of Sharpie to the color of your zipper too. Step 1, to remove the little screws that are holding the cassette tape together. And I think I have about 5 of them on this thing. And they're just little tiny screws that you just gotta take off. Pretty easy. Lefty loosey tighty righty, guys. Took the little screws out, and the cassette actually, once you get the screws out, it basically just comes apart really easy. And okay, since my cassette was actually clear, I opted to paint a couple of coats of black paint. The next thing you want to do is lay down your piece of scrap material and lay the cassettes down. Now what you're going to do is use them kind of like almost like your pattern or your outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fabric chalk and I'm going to draw a line around the cassettes, basically using them to outline a pattern for my lining. Go ahead and use a good pair of scissors and cut where you marked. Basically you have a little square where both of these kind of fit in perfectly. So go ahead and cut that out. And for the meantime, you're just going to put that to the side till we jump to the next step. Guys, bottom of the cassette, face down. Top of the zipper part on the outside. Take your hot glue gun and add a line of glue on this one side. Take one side of the zipper and press it down to the glue. Okay, so on to the next side. I'm going to add glue right on that corner and all the way down. And you kind of have to fold that corner just a little, kind of pinch it and fold so that you can get that corner just right, and then lay down the zipper. And add some glue along that. Again, just kind of pinch and fold the corner down and press it into place. Alright guys, at this part, my zipper fits perfectly. It starts right on the corner where I wanted it to, and it ends right on the corner where I wanted it to. If you picked a zipper that is too long, you will need to cut it. And just get a good pair of scissors, fabric scissors, and cut right through the zipper and the material, all of it. Just cut right through it. Then take a needle and thread and basically sew a couple of quick stitches right here, just like back and forth and around. So basically that you make a little stopper right there with some thread. Okay guys, now you want to grab the other half of your cassette and we're going to start gluing it. So this is the bottom part of the cassette, this is the bottom part of the cassette. If I were to turn it over, it would be just like that. So we are going to apply a strip of hot glue along this edge right here. And attach this half of the zipper to the cassette. So once this side has had a chance to cool off, you want to flip it back over and actually zip it up. You want to be able to zip as you go because this will keep everything lined up evenly. Kind of got it zipped a little less than halfway just so I can still open it and work with it. And I'm going to add my line of glue. Fold that corner over a little, just kind of fold it and then press her down. You have both of your cassettes attached to the zipper. Now I'm just going to go back and basically reinforce the zipper material with the cassette add a little extra glue in here just to make sure that it holds good. Alright, so now it's time to add the lining. So I basically unzipped the cassette. It's not exactly attached or anything right now. It's just kind of folded right there, ready for the lining. So I'm kind of just matching them up, and I have the piece of lining that a scrap piece of material that I cut out for the lining. And the side that's facing up will actually be the inside of the wallet. The side that's facing down will be the outside of the wallet. So take your glue gun and just trace along the edge of the zipper and the cassette a good line of glue on one half. Take your lining and just kind of press it in there. Be careful, the glue is kind of hot, but you want to make sure that the glue kind of just basically fuses with the fabric and holds it into place. Now jump to the other side and trace along that line again. More on the edge of the zipper than anything. You don't want it too close to the zipper because it can glob up. And you just want to make sure that they're together, and go ahead and press down. And at this point you can see mine's a little bit longer. The material ended up being a little longer than what I need. But I'm going to go ahead and glue everything into place first and let the glue dry. And then I'll just take a pair of scissors and cut off that little extra bit up there. That's no problem. Alright, so now that I have the lining in here, the side on where the zipper is, it's pretty snug. But this side at the end where it actually ends, there's kind of a gap, and I don't want any of my change to fall out. So what I'm going to do is take a needle and thread, and I'm going to go in right where the zipper stopper is, and I'm just going to connect both of those pieces together so that I won't have a gap where... Okay, so here is the finished project.